No negatives.
Okay.
No negatives.
And
No
stinking thinking. Let's talk about stinking thinking a little bit. What's stinking thinking? When someone says to you, how can I help you? You're in job search right now. What's a good answer to that? What do you think, Pat? What's a good answer to that?
Talk about what I can do.
They're going to ask you, how can I help you? And you're going to do what?
Well, I'd like to talk to them more about, get some feedback from them, get their ideas about.
Okay. And then when they go running away from you thinking you're absolutely crazy, what else might you say, John? Oh, Marcia.
Do you know of anybody who could use my expertise?
There you go. Yeah, you can say, hey, can we sit down and have a cup of coffee and chat? If you don't know them well enough, if they're having a cup of coffee, go ahead and say to them what? What else could you say to them, John? Remember, they're asking you, how can I help you?
My mind just went blank.
Well, at least it's not stinking. It's just going blank. Yeah.
Just like to get your opinions on how you got to where you are in your field and get some ideas from you on how it might help me.
A good question, yeah. What other questions? How about...
Anybody looking for somebody? Here's what I do. Here.
Well, maybe that'll cause them to run away too.
I think you could be asking him for, once you tell them kind of the area that you're focusing in on, that do you know of anyone at certain companies that you might be able to introduce me to where I can talk to them?
Right. Now, let's think about some ways to help that, make that work. One is this, really simply. One is ask them, if you know them, can I use you as a reference? What a great natural answer, isn't it? Go ahead and ask. Hey, I'd like you to use you for a reference. Great. Then, how many of you have a list of target companies on your handle? And some of my clients have them in a separate piece of paper. Hey, you got a list of target companies. Ask, hey, here's a list of companies I'm targeting. Do you know anyone at any of these companies? Great question to ask. It's not just do you know anybody, but it's helping them to understand what that is.
Or you can say, do you know any companies that are similar to these companies that you think I might be a good fit with?
That's exactly right. Are there any companies missing on my list that I should be including? Question number 3. My 3 questions, right? Okay, so stinking thinking is this. When someone says, can I help you? Saying the words, oh no, I'm fine. We don't like to ask for help. We might be beholden to someone. Guess what? You need some help. This is not easy stuff. It's simple. You have to make contacts. You got to follow up with people. You got to make more contacts. You got to follow up with people. You got to meet. You got to talk. That's simple, but it's not easy. Especially if we're not gifted in talking to strangers. And sadly, most people are strangers, even if we know them.
Especially if they're authority figures, like a possible boss, and not sure how to approach them.
Especially authority figures. Yeah, there's some anticipation that causes anxiety there. Hey, one of the things I want to think too, it's also a stinking thinking. I had a phone call today just before coming here, and it was somebody that had an interview, and it went really, really well. They hadn't had an interview at all. They had an interview, and it went really, really well, and I'm like, hey, this is great, you had the interview, and super. Not only that, it's even better than that. You actually got to the point where they're talking about salary. Now, the bad news was, the salary wasn't quite high enough. And I said, you know what? You might have to turn it down. You might have to take it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But they got to offer you the job first. So we're waiting for that. And the other thing is we need to be celebrating. Why? Because somebody realized your value and wanted to bring you on board. Starting to talk to you about doing it. That's something to feel pretty good about. If you went out and had any interviews in 2 months, geez, yeah. Yeah, but what do we do? Our stinking thinking says, oh, it's not enough money, it's not enough this, it's not enough that, oh, it's not any fun, it's not a good job, oh, life's awful, I gotta go out there and do it again, oh, no one's ever gonna hire me. That stinking thinking. Take time to smell the roses.